Hello students, welcome once more to online video class for ICSE class 10 computer applications. Today we are starting a new chapter, that is functions or methods. Today we will study the basics of this chapter, means what is a function, what are the advantages of using a function, what is the syntax to write a function, and what are the different components used in a function, like what is function prototype, what is function signature, what is access specifier, which includes public, private, and protected. What is return type, function name, parameter list, function block, and return statement. So without wasting the time, let us start our topic, starting with the function. A program module or a part of program which is used simultaneously at different instances in a program to perform a specific task is known as function. Function is nothing but the instructions given to the computer in a block. That block, you are familiar with that. Within a pair of curly braces, whatever instructions we give to the computer to perform any task, this is known as function. So these instructions are written inside a function. And one class may have many functions together. That is why function is a part of a program or a module of a program. Advantages of using a function: it hides low-level inner code from its users. External use of methods may be allowed without expecting internal details. It returns the segment of a class code as and when necessary by simply using the name of the function. It divides the complex computation of tasks into a collection of smaller methods so that problem solving becomes easier, object specific, and modular. So here the last point is very important. Sometimes what happens when you are given a big task, leave the program, think about a practical problem. When a big task or big problem is given to you, if you think about the whole problem together, then problem solving becomes difficult. But if you divide the big task into smaller subtasks and try to find the solution of the smaller subtask, then our work becomes easier. So after solving the smaller task one by one separately, when we combine all the subtasks together, then a big task can be performed. Same concept is used in modularity that we are going to study now. In modularity, a big program is divided into smaller subtasks, or you can say smaller subprograms. To solve this smaller subtask, we can create many methods. For example, for taking input, we can create a one method input. For doing the processing work, we can create a method like compute or process. And for displaying the result or output, we can design a function output or display. So a big program can be divided into smaller subprograms or subtasks, and when these subtasks are performed separately, then it is known as function. Inside the function, we can perform a specific task, and all the subtasks when combined together, then it solves the problem. Now we will study what is the correct syntax to write a function, that is function definition. The general form of function definition is, first we start with access specifier, then modifier, then return type, then the name of the function, and in a pair of curly braces we can write the body of the function. So here access specifier and modifier, these two concepts are optional because it is displayed in big bracket. So while writing the syntax of any concept in Java, whenever big bracket is used, it means that part is optional. You can use or you can leave. Modifier is not in our syllabus, we will not discuss that. But other all the things like access specifier, return type, function name, body of the method and method block, all these things we will discuss one by one. Let us see one example of a function definition. Public int add int m comma int n. Then we have body of a function. Here public is known as access specifier. Int is return type. So far you would have used void in most of the functions. Void is also a return type, but instead of void we can have any other data type. So when to use data type as a return type and when to use void, these things we will discuss. Then the parameter list int m comma int n, it means this function add receives two arguments of integer type, then the body of the method. I hope function definition will be clear to you with this simple example. Now function prototype or function header. One by one we will study all the parts of function definition. So starting with prototype. It is the first line of a function definition. So whatever you have seen in the previous syntax, see the syntax once more. This is the syntax of function. Whatever is shaded here or highlighted, this is known as the function header or function prototype. It is the first line of function definition which includes access specifier, modifier, return type, function name along with parameter list. Now, what is the difference between function prototype and function definition? See, function definition involves function prototype along with body of the function. But in case of function header or function prototype, just we leave the body from the function definition. It means only first line of function definition makes the header or function prototype. Now function signature we will study. Function signature is concerned mainly with the numbers and data types of arguments to be passed during its invocation by calling function name. So when we call a function, that is known as function invocation. Then we pass certain arguments inside the argument list. So function signature involves the name of the function along with the data type of the argument. So shaded part you can see on the computer screen. Add is the name of the function that we have used just now in the previous example. and two integer arguments are used there. So we will write here int comma int. So function signature involves name of the function along with data type of the arguments. Here we don't write the variable names. Now access specifier. Access specifier, as I have told you in the beginning of the function definition, it is optional. You can use it or you can leave it. It depends on you. Access specifier deal with the scope of uses of a function. It means a function can be used where a function cannot be used where. It can be either public, private or protected type. There are three options involved here. When the function of a class is specified as private, a member of that class only can use that function. It means private functions can be used in the class only, inside other functions of the same class. It cannot be used outside the class in other classes. That is the restriction of private function. Public function can be accessed by any source, even from external class functions. It means if a class has more than one functions, then the public function can be used inside the class in other functions, as well as public function can be used outside the class also in other functions. And public function can be used outside the package also. That is why its scope is everywhere. So public can be used inside the class, public function can be used outside the class, public functions can be used outside the package also. So private and public we have discussed. Protected. Protected is mainly concerned with the inherited class types. That is, only inherited class members can access the protected functions. Inheritance you have already studied. When the object of a class occupies the properties of object of another class, it is known as inheritance. So when one class inherits the properties of another class, it is known as inheritance. So during inheritance, protected functions can be used outside the class in other classes. But this inheritance is not in our syllabus, we will not discuss it. We will discuss with public, private. When no access specifier is mentioned, as I had told you in the beginning, access specifier is only optional. So when you use, you have three options: public, private and protected. But suppose you don't use it. In that case, by default, Java accepts that function under public specifier within its own package boundary. It means when no access specifier is mentioned, then that function behaves as public, but the restriction is inside the package only. That function cannot be used outside the package. So to use the function outside the package, we must make it public. Now, what is package? Package is nothing but a folder or directory which contains a number of defined classes. Or you can say a package is a collection of classes. Now we will see the practical examples of this access specifier. I have designed some programs to explain that. One by one we will discuss it. Suppose we have a class A Private double cube. Cube is the name of a function. Double is the return type of the function. Private is access specifier. This function receives one double type of argument in the variable x. Now in the body of the function we have only two statements. R will store x cube and it will return the value of R. So whenever we use any data type other than void, it means that function returns a value. Return type we will discuss in detail in the coming topics. So here we are not using void, it means the function returns any type of value, that is a double type of value. So in case of return type function, we don't use print statement. Instead of print statement, we use return statement. So the result of this function is returned to other methods where it is called. That is the objective of using return type function. So the use of this function cube is to accept a double value, find its cube and return the cube. Now one more function we have in the same class, that is void main. Here return type is mentioned void, name of the function is main, argument list is blank. Void represents that this function does not return any value. Actually main is used to call the above function cube inside this function. Now in the body of main we have one variable a initialized with 3. Now this is the function call statement. We are calling function cube. Now you can see the cube function receives one double type of value. So whenever we call a function, the number of arguments which are received should match with number of arguments sent. This is the reason we are passing or sending a value of double type here. Whenever we call a function, we need to remember three important things. Like here, we are calling function cube. The spelling of this function should be exactly same. And this function should be present inside the class. So here it is present. Now, the number of arguments received by function should match with number of arguments sent. So cube function receives one argument, so we are sending one argument. Third criteria for the calling or invocation of a function is the data type of the argument sent should be equivalent to the data type of the argument received. Here x receives double type of value and here a is double type of value which is sent. So argument sent and argument received both belongs to same data type. Now when this line will execute, compiler will search where is cube function in this class. It will find cube here. This cube can be before the main or it can be after the main, no problem. Compiler will search from this class from anywhere. Now, the copy of A will be received in X. It means X will receive 3.0. After that, the body of cube will run. Here we have only two statements. 3 cube 27.0 will be stored in R. Return R. It will send the value 27.0 to the function where it is called. It means in the main function where cube is called, 27.0 will be sent back or returned. Now to store that 27.0, we need to declare a variable of the compatible type. This is the reason Z is declared double type. Since the above function sends double value, so we need to declare the variable with double type. Now Z will store 27.0. Now the next statement in the main function, we are printing the cube of A. It means cube of 3.0 equal to Z. Z means 27.0. Now we will see the result of this method. Object where I have already created, but let me remove it and create once more. We want to run the main method. So first we need to create object because we are using non-static method. Now when object is created, we can right click on the object and run the main method. Now you can see the result on the terminal window. Cube of 3.0 equal to 27.0. Now see the use of private here. As I have told you earlier, private functions can be used in other methods inside the same class. So you can see private function cube is called in the main function and it is working. Result you have already seen. But private function cannot be used outside the class. Now we will see another example to explain it. I have created one more class here, class double A, void main 1. I am going to call the cube function in another class, that is AA. So first we need to create the object of the previous class. So class name A, object name OB equal to new, again class name, object is created. Now ob.cube 4.0, this is the function call statement. Through the object only we can call a function from another class. That is why cube function is called. But see the problem here. You can see the error message on the computer screen. Cube has private access in A. It means function cube is having access specifier private and its scope is only the class A. It means it cannot be used outside the class. So this is the reason it is not compiling. Now we will see if we change private to public, what happens. Now public function can be used everywhere So you can see here in the same class cube is used and it is working, compiling. Now if we compile it now, here you can see it is showing no syntax error. The reason is cube function is made public here. So public function can be used not only in the same class, but it can be used outside the class also. Now you can see one class we have AA, where I have called function cube. One more class we have A. Here you can see. So the function of class A, that is cube, it is called here in another class AA, and the class is compiling. It is not showing any error. It shows that public function can be used outside the class also. Now we will see the result. Again we will create an object to run this program. When we call main1, in this case answer is 64.0. The reason was while calling the cube function we had passed the value 4.0. So copy of 4.0 will be received here in X, and R will store the cube of 4.0, that is 64.0, and return value will be 64.0, which will be stored in X. So we have seen public and private. If we don't use any access specifier, like here you can see in this example, cube don't have any access specifier mentioned because it is optional. So now in this case we will see whether it can be used outside. Yes. So cube can be used in the same class in main, and same cube can be used outside the class in another method also. Now if we run the same method again from another class, we should get the same result. Now you can see we are getting the same result as public. So when we don't use public as the access specifier, or we don't use any access specifier, then it behaves as a public but in the same package. Same package in the sense both the classes are contained in the same folder, that is why they are in same package. But if the class AA belongs to any other package, in that case cube cannot be used in another class. So to use a class in another package, to use a function in another package, we must use public. Now, public we have seen, private we have seen, protected is not in your syllabus, but I will show you the example here. Suppose we make it protected. Protected function behaves as a, let us see that. Protected is used now. So protected function cube behaves as private in the same class. You can see it is used here and it will work also. If we run it, protected can be used in the same class. It is working. But when we have to use the protected function in another class, then during inheritance it is possible. And to inherit a class, I am going to inherit class A in class AA. So we used to write a keyword extends. After extends the class which we want to inherit. This is the syntax to inherit a class in another class. So if we compile now, you can see it is compiling. Now the strips are removed. But you can see a dark arrow here. This is the sign of inheritance. When you are getting dotted arrow, it means we are calling one function from another class. But when we use this dark arrow, it means, and dark line here, it means we are inheriting a class. So for inheriting a class, this is the syntax. After the class name, we need to write the keyword extends, then the class which we want to inherit. Now if you run, it will work. So public, private, protected, all the access specifier we have studied. Now return type. It indicates the type of value as outcome of a method is to be returned to its caller. In case a function does not return any value, its return type is mentioned as void. It represents non-returnable method. When a function is defined to return some output, the body of the function must include return data type. Example, in the end of the function block, we need to write a return statement where return is a keyword. After that space, then we can mention a value which we want to return. This example I have already shown to you. See once more how to use return statement. Here, function cube is return type. It returns double type of value. That is why return type is mentioned as double. And instead of print statement, we need to write return statement. So we need to write keyword return, then space value. Here value is R, where r stores the cube of x. Return statement can be written in two methods. We can keep the return value inside the bracket also, like here I have used in the comment. So there are two options of using return statement. Now function name, parameter list. Function name is identifier name. This is the name of the function. We can use any name just like the name we give to variables because it belongs to identifier. Parameter list. Some functions work on one argument, some functions work on two arguments, some functions work on many arguments, and some functions does not work on any argument. So inside the argument list, when a function receives a value, then the syntax is first we need to write the data type, then space, name of the variable, comma, again data type, space, name of variable. Like this, we can mention as many variables as the function receives or the function requires. But if function does not require any argument, in that case parameter list can be blank. For example, you can see in the same program here function cube has one argument in the parameter list because it works on one value. But here function main does not has any argument in the parameter list because this function does not require any input. Body of the method you have already seen. Within a pair of curly braces, whatever instructions we want to give to the computer, it is mentioned in the body. So that is the end of today's session. Whatever things are explained today, please revise all the things. Like today we have seen what is function, what are the advantages of functions, how to write correct syntax of a function, and the explanation of different components like function prototype, function signature, access specifier, return type, function name, parameter list, method block. These things we have discussed. So we will cover the remaining topics in the next video. Till then, take care.